Exactly. So they have a lot of Twitter spaces, and they openly talk about all their drama. Oh, my guy was cheating, and this, that, and the other, and the girl came to my house, and blah blah blah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tragic.
They openly talk about all that, all of it. I went to his house. He said he was going to work, and I went to his house and creeped up to the window, and I busted the window out, and I heard him make love to another female, and it's crazy. Twitter is crazy sometimes.
Twitter, every area of this planet, digital, virtual, physical. Not the place it should be. Not the place it should be.
Yeah. That's why I'm on a Twitter diet. But I'm gonna promote the channel. Don't worry. But then I'm jumping back off again. I'm not interested in listening and talking to other victims. I'm so tired of that. Ooh,
yeah, you had a long experiment with that, and it was telling. It was telling of where we are and what we're dealing with.
White people got us. It's horrible. It's real bad. It's bad. Woo.
And no black person want to be told that, hey, they're trying to kill you. No one wants to hear that. They don't want to hear that they're being dominated on all aspects of area activity. Like when I'm around any black person that just comes out, I'm like, they ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, I can't be doing too good. I'm under attack, so are you.
No, what they don't want to hear? That I'm not a man or woman. That's
right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't find a way to softly, gently tell somebody you're not a man or woman. I've been trying. I'm trying, and I can't. I can't. We can't take that pill. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I told a black female in the virtual realm. I called her a female. Just came out and then gave me a whole thing, like a whole lecture.
I'm not a dog. You call a dog a female. Blah 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 blah. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you.
Yeah, I refer to myself as a black male all the time, and when I do it in front of fellow victims, especially the counterpart, the should-be counterpart, the black female, definitely they look at me differently, and it's just wow, I'm telling the truth. I am a black male. I don't see, there's a problem with it, but hey, it's not my fault. I don't feel like.
You're practicing victimhood. You're practicing
exactly.
Oh.
You're not trying to solve the problem. You're trying to keep us stuck here.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just brave enough and honest enough and logical enough to tell the truth, to know where I'm starting from. I know where I'm starting from.
You don't make me feel good when you talk like that. You don't make me feel good, sir.
Yeah, I'm starting from where I am. Like the real men on the planet have destroyed whatever men that look like me used to be, long destroyed before I even got to this planet, before I was even conceived. They determine where I live. They print the money I need to exist. They build the houses I need to thrive in, dwell in. So it's just not, come on, like they control the power lines.
Sounds like defeat,
I'm just pointing out the obvious. Yeah, I know. It's really tragic, calling
things. Victim mentality.
Exactly.
But when they do say you sound defeated and whatnot, like a defeatist or whatever, I say, hey, I'm just being logical. I'm just saying exactly what I understand to be happening. I'm not making none of this up. This is actually
what's their response
happening. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, and it's a repeat cycle. Like
circular thought.
Yeah, brain trash, brain hijack, programming complete. Like.
You sound defeated. You could say, is it the existence of a victor? Am I living like I'm living? None of them can.
Stop close to the mic.
Get close to the mic, man. I'd like to hear you.
Oh, sorry. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I said that if someone says you sound like you've been defeated, or you sound like you're acting like you're defeated, you should say like, is this the existence of a victor? Am I existing like someone who's won anything?
All right, we're going live again. Honest race talk is what we're discussing right now.
My, oh my.
But any responses to Miss Ash?
I thought that was constructive. Is this how a victor lives? Is this what someone who's won the race for? Is this how they're supposed to live, act, behave, think? I don't want to keep lying to myself. People, anytime you bring up the reality of the existence on the planet, victims are very quick to paint a fantasy. They love living in their fantasy, and they want you to live in it too.
We love because we are amongst. That's them. We are them, tragically. But yeah, we love the fantasy given to us by racist men and racist women. And what's also very common and tragic and confusion is how we refer to ourselves as a race, and no such thing as a black race. I'm not a member of black race. I'm not racing against nobody. I am a victim of race, non-race. Shout out to Edward Williams. But yeah, I'm not a member of race. Shout out to Neely Fuller Jr. for like the counter-racist logic that allows me to understand there's only one race on the planet. The people.
That's the white race.
Yeah, exactly. The people who created the concept of race, I suspect, who organized themselves behind race. Those are the only race on the planet. Therefore, the only people.
And it's so brilliant because race is inside the word racism. So it's right there in our face and we don't see it. We're just like, oh, the human race, the this race. No, it's right in the word. Oh, please. Oh boy, crazy. Right in our face.
By design, the existence of a race, necessitates and destitutes, racism.
Yeah.
Gotta have it on this planet. Like the Urugus have decided, we need this here. Like, we love it. It's the best thing ever. And we love using these black batteries to fuel our whatever it is that guides us, whatever.
Black batteries. Ooh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how black people are treated on planet Earth, just for power source, money source, anything. What do you need? Go to a black person, take it from them.
Yeah. Entertain us. Like you said. Entertain, especially entertainment. Boy, we got that down pat. Woo.
Yeah.
I wish we stopped.
Get your super dark self under that. Get yourself under your dirt. Go into your earth. Get all your rocks and minerals and give them to me. And I'm gonna make some stuff to continue my business of white supremacy, and you're gonna slowly get cancer due to you existing underground with no face protection, because this is how we have dominated you. You work for us. Your existence is to serve us. This is how the planet is run. And the area of the world known as Africa is that should be the evident that we are dealing with a race problem, and the people who are in charge of the planet are the people who control race, are the only race, white people. How can we have the largest so-called continent in such the state that it's in? There's a large number of texts that one can read. How Europe underdeveloped Africa, Urugu, the ISIS papers, and all will allow you to understand that, hey, yes, we're in a system of white supremacy, and that explains the state of the continent where, hey, they have the most resources on the planet and they live in such squalor. It can't be because they're all unintelligent and don't know what to do, because I've seen a number of videos of people in a continent making robots with the bare minimum. So imagine what they could do if they actually controlled their area, but they don't control anything over there. So here we are.
I agree on 5. I've seen a lot of brilliant manifestations brought to planet Earth via the hands of black people, black males and black females. I don't know how the system's gonna crumble and be removed, but I suspect individuals like that will play a major role in helping bring some form of justice to planet Earth. I certainly hope so.
It's interesting how speaking of Africa, how and black people globally, how do we look at black people on the planet living in such squalor and then start blaming one another for the conditions? It seems like the racist in power, racist man, racist woman, are getting exactly the attention that they need and want, which is none of it. Instead, we are too busy focusing on one another, not trying to help one another. I don't even know if victims can really help each other, but not focusing on racist man and racist woman. I've been seeing too much of that. It's really starting to get to me.
Yeah, that is very understandable and very ever present. The blame game. Shout out to Kanye West, victim of racism, ultimate victim of racism, due to him being raped by Kim Kardashian and his so-called children being captured by her. Anywho, yeah, wow, it's really awful what we're describing. But hey, we have to be honest, and that's the best way to solve a problem. What have we learned from the body that keeps the score? When wanting to so-called heal and recover and solve one's illnesses and one's problems and one's damage, we must be truthful, and we must place the correct blame. And shout out to Kanye West for his song "The Blame Game," because that's what we play. We play some sort of blame game where blame other victims. We blame places. I blame America. America is so racist. Oh man, the Chinese. I blame China. China is so racist. Jews are so racist. We blame these concepts and things that don't actually exist instead of blaming racist man and racist woman, the source of all misery on the planet. We play this blame game because we have been led to be so confused, trained to be so confused, and that's what we see a lot. Black people blaming other victims blaming victims. Yeah. And I want to talk about what was mentioned during the meeting. It's tragic that we live in such a twisted. Someone used the term demonic earlier, but it's just so incorrect to live in a system where this term, a serious term, a necessary term, has been turned to be an insult. Victim, a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of crime, accident, or other event or action. A person who was tricked or duped. A living creature killed as a religious sacrifice. Non-white people and everything dark on this planet checks these boxes 100%. But hey, you're so victim-minded. You're a victim mentality. Hey, I actually fit the qualifications of being a victim. Do you understand? But it's this is how masterful racist men and racist women are. They have taken us so far away from logic, from being able to not be utterly insane and confused, where people who are actually victims, don't call me a victim. I ain't a victim. Well, I ain't been duped, tricked. Ain't nobody harming me yet. Everywhere they go, amongst squalor, everywhere they go, things are more difficult for them to accomplish. everywhere they go, got people observing them in an incorrect manner. But they're not victims. No one's harming them. No global crime has been committed against them. I hope what I said made sense. If not, then ooh.
Makes sense. I think black people, non-white people on the planet, really need not to take offense to that. They should not take offense to that. They did not create the circumstances that they find themselves in. It is just the reality of the situation. And the first step to solving it is acknowledging the reality of the situation. Nobody said that you have to be a victim your entire life. You can do what we're trying to do, or what I'm trying to do, which is produce a system of justice, so we no longer have to be victims. Racist men and racist women already don't value you or your life. So admitting you are a victim does nothing to damage your reputation with them. You are already lower than their pets, than their dogs. So understanding that we are victims. I don't think I ever looked up the definition of victim, but that absolutely reflects the existence I live on the planet as a non-white person, and most non-white people on the planet. An accurate description of what it is like to be a non-white person on this planet.
Yes, 100. Thank you, Mr. Quaker. And same here. I feel all its qualifications, especially a person who is tricked or duped. I was led to believe that, hey, school is not even serious. I could joke around. So I was led to believe, hey, I could joke around. I could laugh. I'm the class jester. Let's have some laughs. Next thing you know, I don't know what the hell is 14 divided by 260. What the hell? Does not compute. Due to my victimization, due to me being so sabotaged from birth. Because why? Why am I sabotaged? Why am I correctly labeled as a victim? Because I was born into a system of racism, white supremacy. The person I came out of was also a victim of racism, white supremacy. She was not able to instill in me the things I needed to do to be serious or anything, because hey, I'm in a system of white supremacy, so is she. So it takes an effective number of us to actually be attempting to solve the race problem for anything of constructive value to get done, because what is happening currently in 2022, it's just victims of racism, bringing more victims of racism to planet Earth, victims of racism who are not going to understand that they're victims, who are going to, I'm not a victim, I'm not being harmed yet. Turn on the news. George Floyd, suffocated, 8 minutes, knee on his neck. Breonna Taylor, shots rang through her apartment door. Her apartment wall, killing her. I'm not being harmed. On the news, yeah, we had to get a white person to pretend to be our house person to get our house valued at the correct price. It's just, but you're not a victim of any crimes. We have to really be logical and understand what's happening on planet Earth 2022, and will continue to happen until us non-white people, everyone not white, particularly those classified as Black, because it has been said, and I have seen a large number of people just follow what Black people do. So if we're trying to solve a race problem, maybe a large number of non-white people will also attempt to do the same thing. I don't know. We should attempt to do so nonetheless.
To add to that, I've been seeing a lot of victims following people. Someone had tweeted out earlier today that they support this person because they say they support Frances Cress Welsing and Neely Fuller, but it got me thinking, why doesn't that person, rather than following that person, like read those books, come to their own conclusions. Rather, it seems that they're following somebody else's code, and who knows if they've read the books. Once again, you know, coming back, reading is more important than watching television. I think that it seems like, you know, Black people might be looking for another leader. The code should be the leader. Don't look for leaders. You are more than capable of being your own leader. Interesting.
Exactly. And that concept, hey, be a good leader, you know, build up a leader. Nope, been there, done that too many times. Yeah, thank you, Quickie. The code is the leader. ProduceJustice.com, counter racist logic, counter racist code. When you're talking about white people, their code is their leader. They don't look for any white person to solve their problems. They know that they have a white code that they are working with globally. Non-white people, especially those classified as Black, but when you look at your skin, it may be Black, it may be brown, it may be some sort of paleness, but they call you Black anyway. We need a code as well. Neely Fuller Jr. has devised a very constructive code that you can acquire from ProduceJustice.com, a code that will give you some suggestions of how we can solve this problem. And if enough of us are, you know, taking these suggestions and applying them, perhaps overnight we can retard this system to the degree it has retarded us, and perhaps solve this problem once and for all. So, you know, we can be doing something much, much more pleasant with our time and energy. Yeah, very, very constructive text here. And also, if you want to solve our problems we have with one another, it's very commonly described as gender wars, but I just like to say, hey, Black males and Black females have been successfully trained to be in conflict with one another. I don't like to use the word hate a lot, but I think a lot of the times it's correct for me to think and say that, hey, I think the system has actually trained us, Black males and Black females, to hate each other. They have taught us to hate each other, and it's happening 24/7. 24/7. I remember when I was a younger victim of racism, hearing all the horrendous stories of the mistreatment Black people were doing to each other, and it used to actually scare me, you know, hearing stories about, yeah, he was asleep and I threw boiling water on her. I threw boiling water on his ass. I threw hot grease on him. I threw hot grease on his ass. Or, you know, yeah, beat the fuck out of that bitch, you know, knock that bitch out. And I was like, wow, it would after the fact and thinking about, you know, these things, even hearing stuff like that damaged me perhaps, and it's very tragic. But how did this occur? It occurred a very long time ago when white people got their business started of racism, white supremacy, particularly those racist white supremacists. It's very, very, very tragic. But we're not gonna solve the problems we have with one another if we are not focusing on racist men and racist women. It's best for us to attempt to work together as a pair, a Black male, Black female. Kind of like, you know, every other collective has a pair. We are, you know, intended to work together to solve this problem. I don't want to use the term work together often, but the pairs should be working together to solve this problem. At least have an understanding that there's a problem needing to be solved. But racist men and racist women have done a masterful job at training us against one another. And you will see that very easily if you just look up some of the content other non-white people are producing that point the blame at other non-white people. It's a Black female's problem. It's a Black female's fault that, you know, they have become the lackeys of white supremacists, or the black males have become like the white supremacists, power people who now practice white supremacy through their patriarchy. Just ridiculous jargon, ultimate confusion. There's not a single black male or female on this planet that has any power at all. So we have to actually be honest. This is what we're here. We're talking honestly about race, the race problem. The race problem started by the people who created race, white people, the people who call themselves white but actually are not white. More I don't know what color it, more peach, more peachy, pinkish, but not actually white. So this is what we're dealing with on planet Earth. And it's a simple a simple problem. We just complicate it by saying, yeah, it's not racism, it's colorism, it's capitalism, it's communism, it's racism, white supremacy. The ultimate racism, the ultimate ism is racism, white supremacy. And I've been going on for a bit, so I'll pause my mic.
You know, I just thought about the Mel in Atlanta, Khalil, when he's like, why would they help us take away money from their business? That's not a business, that's a charity. And I always think that too. Like, why would any white supremacist help a non-white person solve the problem? So that's why I just think it's best just to rely on independent practices, united, independent compensatory code. That's what's going to help us solve this problem. Once we get to the necessary numbers, a few million people who are, attempting to be counter-racist scientists, attempting to solve problems, who are brave enough to say, hey, being mistreated every single day. I go outside, white people are hiding their bags, crossing the street. I'm just constantly being targeted on psychological levels, spiritual levels, all levels, everywhere. So I would love for this to stop. I would love for this not to be happening on planet Earth. I would love to not be in this predicament. So just order this book, read other books, ISIS Papers, Urugu. There's a lot of knowledge to be found, a lot of great things to discover if you do choose the path to attempt to solve the problem.
That is a great reminder of, let's be honest, are white people going to stop practicing racism, white supremacy? Are enough white people going to be so-called allies? If all these white people are apparently allies, and one thing white people love to do, I think I'm using that, when I say love, I think I'm using that word correctly. Well, one thing they love to do is deceive non-white people. They'll point and talk about how the KKK, these neo-Nazis, are the real racists. You need to be worried about them, not me. Racism was old back in the day. If that's true, why is racism still here? If you have identified all the neo-Nazis and the KKK members, and that was back in the old days, why is racism still alive? Why is it still here? Why are we still dealing with it? And that's because white people are practicing racism constantly. They're still practicing it. I suspect all white people are practicing racism, white supremacy, at all times of the day, at any given moment. That is the only logical way that racism can still be here. If we've identified the KKK and all the overt racists, logically that tells me that white people are still practicing racism, even the ones that tell me they aren't, even the so-called allies. White people are making millions off of racism. The Tim Wises, the Dr. Ansels, writing their books, doing their tours, giving workshops on racism. and yet it's still here. Racist
Wow.
suspect.
Thank you, Quakey. And to answer the question, are white people going to stop practicing racism, white supremacy? I have no clue, which is why I have an ultimatum and I subscribe to the ultimatum from the code. And I am all for this mentality. I have this mentality and I would urge all victims of racism, non-white people to acquire this mentality. You know, we have to understand that, hey, we're only going to give white people and the racists two options. Hey, you have to stop practicing racism, white supremacy, and help us to produce a system of justice by guaranteeing no one is allowed to be mistreated and those who need help receive constructive help, or just kill all of us. All of us have to be in accordance to this mentality and to this ultimatum, because that's it. You know, anything else, they're gonna be able to, you know, deceive us and, you know, you rugu the situation, and next thing you know, racism still here. They've still managed to deceive us, and they're still mistreating us in this really refined manner. So we need a, you know, once and for all situation. Okay, well, now we actually have justice on planet Earth, or they can have this planet, and hopefully the creator will allow us to exist somewhere else where we don't have to deal with this race problem, and we're not prisoners of war, and we are not continuously born into a planet where white people are waging a war against everything that's not white. You know, the planet itself, the creatures, the people on the planet with the creatures is all very incorrect. And we should not I mean, we are not having fun here. We should not be pretending we are, even though they have made this situation so pleasing and comfortable for a lot of us.
Really interesting too that you brought that up about white people waging warfare on Earth Day, like the day created by white people to confuse victims on what the problem is and who's causing the problem. You have kids out here picking up trash or, you know, planting things, thinking that they're the problem because they throw trash somewhere, or they, you know, and it's just more propaganda about who the actual, you know, people who are causing the real problems are.
Yeah, this is why problem and the focus is always white people, to blame white people, racist man and racist woman. And I feel nothing stating this truth, this fact that logic in a long history record that shows, yeah, white people are the ones that have been maiming people, have been causing large amounts of people to cease to exist. They've been capturing people and saying that they own these people and then naming them. And then it's been white people. The problem has been white people for all this long. It's been them. They may have called themselves Romans, they may have called themselves Americans, they may have called themselves Canadians, Australians, Germans, Russians, they may have called themselves a number of things, but what they all agree that they are is white people who deserve the role of mistreating everyone not white. So it's 2022, and you know, tomorrow we could have justice if enough of us were understanding of the problem and how simple it is to solve. So, you know, we can solve this problem. Justice, produce justice, or kill us all. That's something that needs to be on our existence cry. Not gonna say battle cry, because we don't need to go to battle to solve this problem. We just need to use our thought, speech, and action. That's a battle in itself, just doing that. But yeah, produce justice or kill us all. I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm just 0526, a prisoner of war, talking to fellow prisoners in my cell that white people allow me to exist in. It's not even that comfortable, and I still have to, be mistreated by white people around me over here. So, just help me solve this problem, or do what you gotta do to get rid of all the O5s, and just you know, taking me off this planet. I'm not losing much or anything. So, not here to be a slave anymore. I would prefer to not be a slave or a prisoner of war. I would hope all non-white people are, understanding that, hey, you're not born to be a slave, not born to be the joke, and because that's what we are. We are the joke. We are the joke. We are the joke, and I kind of want to talk about that for a bit, how we are the joke. And sir, if you have any thoughts about how we are the joke, since you just made a movie about that, maybe that would be something you could talk about for a second.
Like, are you talking about in the context of Atlanta or just on the planet?
On the planet. On the planet.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree. That is very true. Very unfortunate that I have come to my own conclusion that non-white black males and black females are definitely pitted as a walking, breathing manifestation of a joke. And that's one of the reasons why I made stand up, is because I just wanted to do my best to articulate, hey, that we are being dominated and we are being oppressed in such a way that it's to everyone else is laughable. It's like, look at the black people. There's so many of them. Why don't they do anything about it? Why do they let us kick them around? Why do they let us do this? Why do they let me say nigga to their face now? I remember like back in the 90s where like if you weren't black, you just didn't say nigga to black people. You didn't call black people niggas to their faces. Now it's Mexican rappers and Brazilian rappers who don't look black, who don't function as black, who are not treated as black people, are going around making whole songs about how they shot 20 niggas and to a really hypnotic and pulsy beat, and it's called music. So and black people allow it, and one of the reasons why we're classified as jokes, that black people just when it comes to everyone else, they're quite docile, but when it comes to black people interaction with each other, I'm just gonna quote Neely Fuller, we carry a lot of poison with each other. We're really quick to hurt each other. People with black skin are really quick to mistreat them physically. But when it comes to white people and people who are fair skinned and whatnot, those people are given, they're treated with courtesy most of the times. They're not mistreated, they're not really abused. And if they are being killed and abused, it's by people who look like them, whites kill the most whites and whatnot. And I also suspect that whites kill the most blacks, considering that racism, white supremacy is global. But yeah, but like social media, everything, like every aspect of planet Earth will tell you that black people is a joke. Go on any social media page and type black person and then see what comes up. Just do it. We're not making this up. We're not exaggerating. Just Google black on Google and just see what comes up. It's just look for yourself. Go on Twitter and look at all the memes of black people. Go on Discord and look at how people use black people as memes. It's gonna get turned and there's a bunch of black people twerking. Like it's very, very we're in a really bad situation at the moment.
That reminds me too, like the idea that black people are seen as like a joke or not seen seriously. I went to the store yesterday and there was a black child who was very large and he was with like other people in his survival unit, and they were he was yelling at the person who I assume to be like his attempted mom or victim mother, asking her to get like certain type of junk food and just being like really loud in the store. And then I see these two I think they're non-white, non-black. That's how I would classify them. Maybe from a place, that's how I would classify them, I think. And they were laughing so hard, talking about how, oh, he's just so funny. This little boy is so funny. Isn't it hilarious? I just think he's like, and I was like, what's funny? Like, I don't understand what's funny. Like, I kept thinking to myself, like, what's funny about this kid who's getting unhealthy food at like 10 p.m. at night with his mother, who are screaming at each other and cannot even have a conversation about what to eat without causing a scene. And I could just see how these people saw these Black people as like they're watching the Boondocks or something. Like they're just watching a funny show, and these are just funny characters. These are not actual. This is not an actual child that you should be concerned about. And it was really unfortunate. I'm pretty sure they heard me say, I don't understand what's so funny, because I was saying it to someone else. I don't understand why they're laughing. And after that, they stopped laughing and their faces were more serious, but they didn't say anything to me, but I just found it to be really interesting.
I think it's all just a distraction. Black is at the bottom. Black is what you mistreat. And it takes all the focus off on how they are being mistreated. Instead of them focusing on producing justice and being more constructive, they get to laugh at the little Black boy who is yelling and not getting the attention that he needs. He doesn't need junk food. He needs things that nourish his body and his mind. He needs help, and he is not getting it. That's why he's yelling. And instead of these non-white people figuring out how to help him, they don't care. He's entertaining them. So I think that this is a good example. I like what you did. What is so funny? You revealed the truth there. Nothing is funny. That's what we're supposed to do. Let's stay focused. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's not live in a fantasy land. Let's tell ourselves the truth about the situation and ask questions to tell the truth. And let's stop all of these interactions with people that have no constructive purpose. Why are we going to go buy junk food? How does it help us? Question everything that goes through your mind. Just practice questioning that, practice focusing on things. I think when you ask questions and you realize this item or interacting with this person at this time in this non-constructive manner is not helping me, it's not helping them, so I'm not going to do it anymore. We have to do, us being aware of the code is not about staying in a victim mentality. It's about, this is your situation. If you want out of it, you need to do the opposite of what you've been doing.
And thank you, Miss Action. Wow. Greetings, Mr. Akanfu Yawu and Mr. Roland from the chat. And my bad, Ronald, Mr. Ronald, he says, hello, V.G.Q. I feel so privileged to be listening to people that understand white supremacy. Thank you. I appreciate your appreciation. I would say we are still learning about the system, what it is and how it works. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, feel free to participate in the discussion. Yeah, but yeah, not getting the help that we need is, the total theme of what it means to be a victim in the system. We're not supposed to get the help, and people are supposed to be laughing at us. And about the situation that Miss Ash mentioned, I'm pretty sure those people, it's acceptable to laugh and joke about Black people around Black people, because a lot of times we've been trained to think, people laughing at us is a compliment. Tragically, that's where we are. That's what's been done to us. Indeed. And since we're discussing this race talk, we can discuss all of the 9 areas. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. All of these areas we just have been utterly sabotaged and victimized. And because we have a number of folks who are joining us, this is what a victim is: a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or event or action. A person who is tricked or duped. A living creature killed as a religious sacrifice. Non-white people, especially Black people, chalk all of these qualifications. So we should not be hearing ourselves say, we're not a victim. We're not victims. We're so victim-minded. Yes, we are. We live, no, my bad. We exist in a victim condition, constantly being tricked or duped, constantly thinking that we got white friends, white lovers, we got Black friends, Black family members. No such thing as a Black family, under the system of racism and white supremacy. How can you protect your Black family? How did George Floyd's family protect him? I don't think they did. I don't think they were allowed to. White people are the only people who do the protecting. We could attempt to defend ourselves, but the record shows, hey, it's quite easy to put a bullet in a person attempting to defend themselves. So on this planet, we are certainly victims. The greatest crime ever committed was the establishment and expansion and refinement of racism, white supremacy. That has made all non-white people accomplices in this crime. And it makes all white people also criminals and accomplices in this crime against us, this crime against so-called humanity, crime against people, crime against the planet. Because as it says here, living creatures killed as a religious sacrifice. Religion, the religion of racism and white supremacy, that's the biggest, most powerful religion on planet Earth, is racism, white supremacy. Yeah, and that requires a lot of sacrifices, white sacrifices, but mostly non-white sacrifices, and the sacrifices of the killing of the planet, the destroying and harming of the planet in somewhat irreversible ways. But white people understand this, but they prefer their business than anything else. They prefer their business. So if they have to, what do they say, crack a few eggs to make an omelet, they will do so at the cost of the planet and millions and millions of non-white people, and a few dozen, few hundred, few thousand white sacrifices, if need be. Yeah, and I really appreciate the white sacrifice concept, because it's really important, and this is something we should know about the race problem we're talking about, racism and white supremacy, a concept created by white people, racist man and racist woman. So they often say, racism is not, it's not real. White people die all the time. Look at the Ukraine-Russian situation. You know, it's just a glaring example of white sacrifices and a telling example of how white people, yeah, they get into conflict with one another. They always are having battles against one another. And the race war that they are maintaining against non-white people, some small skirmishes and disagreements will occur between them, as we're seeing against the so-called Ukrainians and Russians. But even within that, they're still focused on their, you know, most powerful and most priority business of racism, white supremacy, which is why, hey, let the white people get out of the country before these niggers, before these dark-skinned people. What are you doing letting them, you know, hop on the train? They better walk. Y'all better walk these tracks. The white people are getting out of this you know, this war, this battle zone first. What you got? I think it says not racism, white supremacy. Yeah, I think because we're in the so-called Ukraine, y'all gonna hop on this train and get out of this battle zone. Nope, y'all gonna hit these shellings. Yeah, they're gonna be hitting y'all too. Y'all not going nowhere, even though this has nothing to do with y'all, while at the same time having everything to do with y'all, because the focus and the target is always non-white people, especially dark-skinned people known as Black. They may be called Africans, they may be called, you know, migrants, not illegal immigrants, but Haitians or whatever. But no, we're talking about Black people, a term, a classification created by white people. More evidence that we are victims, a person who is tricked or duped. Because I look at my skin here, it doesn't look Black. I look at a lot of dark skin, a lot of so-called Black people, they're not actually Black. But hey, we've been tricked to believe that we're Black. And even if you were Black, why would you call, you know, like, you know, we did not agree to call ourselves that. We were classified and called this by white people. So hey, yeah, we're definitely victims. Stop saying you're not. Follow logic, follow evidence, get rid of this retarded ego that we have all been given by racist men and racist women. And because I said that R word, I gotta, you know, clarify, what does retarded mean? You know, what's retarded? You know, less advanced in mental, physical, or social development than is usual for one's age. Very foolish or stupid. You know, I've been a victim for quite a while. It took me a very long time to understand that, hey, you know, my total existence was very incorrect. Why? Because I was very foolish and stupid, because that's how I was trained. That is how I was supposed to be in this system. Why? Hey, you know, there's 9 areas, and all those 9 areas, there are white people who control things, policies, schooling, laws that are going to lead to me being, hey, less advanced than where I should be for my age. And if I have to always rely on white people, I have to always rely on a person who sees me as their enemy to get things done, then you better believe I'm going to be, you know, held back, you know, less advanced than where I should be in all areas of people activity. So, you know, definitely retarded, definitely victims. And it's not our fault. The people who are to blame are the white people, racist man and racist woman. You know.
What you said too about white sacrifice, I thought was really interesting, because something I thought about too is if a lot of children, especially like non-white children, knew the actual true reasons behind, you know, World War I and World War II, that these were wars based on these countries inhabited by white people wanting to pick and choose what African or Asian country they can own. those were the reasons behind those wars. I wonder if kids in those classrooms would, have a better understanding of the system, you know what I mean? If they actually understood the reasoning behind these wars and stopped having so much sympathy for all these people and all of this destruction that happened in these European countries because of those wars.
Yeah, it reminds me. Oh yeah, I remember telling a class that you remember World War II. Why was Hitler killing all those so-called anti-Semitic people? Because he believed that they were not white. He said, you know what? These people are not white, and they're actually making Germany kind of suck. I want to get rid of them, and that's what he started doing. And then white people had a big disagreement about, hey, these people are white, or they just said, hey, you can't really do that. They had a disagreement nonetheless, and then a great battle occurred. They called it a world war. It should have been correctly called a great battle amongst white people, because all at the same time, racism, white supremacy is still being practiced. At the same time, those so-called Jewish people are being suffocated and gassed by Zyklon B. At the same time, those death squads are kicking in doors and machine gunning countless Jewish people with MP40s. At the same time that's happening, black males, black females are being chased down in pickup trucks, hung by trees, drugged to death, phalluses, yonics, mutilated, all because we are in a system of racism and white supremacy. Global problem that requires global attention from everyone, not white, because at the same time, the SS was running around machine gunning people. At the same time, racist men and racist women were burning black people while having picnics, barbecues. At the same time this is going on, what were white people also doing? Dropping the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Double whammy, give them two. One for the morning and one for lunch. And they're still dealing with the trauma of being nuked. So all non-white people, can look back on what's been done to them, and the greatest harm, the greatest damage, 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 10, can be pointed at, yeah, it's probably white people who did it. You got nuked, you got Agent Orange, you got, used as chattel through the chattel slavery. White people did it. It was probably people who called themselves white. So let's focus on them and not on each other and solve this race problem. And a good way to get started on solving this race problem is going to producejustice.com. I have it right here on the screen for you. Get these 2 books. I would say these 2 books, but some people go all 3. Study all 3. Codify yourself. Promote the code, if you're compelled to do so. But practice it, as I suspect it may be your duty so. Because why are we born on this planet? It's not to live in this sewer system white people call a civilization. It's not to do this. I promise you, you're not born to do this. I do a 9 to 5, working for white people, racist men, racist women, working for their system. I would bet my existence you're not born to do this. It's something different. But in order to find out what it is, we have to get rid of the problem that prevents us from doing anything of value that's going to benefit our existence. So we got to solve the race problem. Some say it can't be done. Those people are just white people or highly, highly confused victims of racism, non-white people. It can be done overnight. It just takes enough non-white people to solve this race problem. And while we're talking honestly about the race problem, let's talk about the numbers. You know, there's about, I'm gonna give white people, you know, I'm gonna give them some leeway. I mean, let's just say there's, you know, 10% white people on planet Earth and 90% non-white people. There's already more of us than them. You know, it just takes us to actually be focused on solving the race problem to get it done. You know, there's more of us than them. This is why they spend so much time calling you a minority, you know, saying that, you know, you are the minority, you are the one who is outnumbered by them, you know, that you are lacking in their percentages. It's all a mind game. They want you to think that you're outnumbered, but they're outnumbered. You know, they just have, you know, mastered the confusion and the spreading of that confusion till, hey, you know, there's never going to be a million non-white people wanting to solve the race problem and knowing how to do so. But that's what they want you to think, and that's how they think. It's very possible. You just have to promote the code and practice the code, and overnight it can be done. Yeah, Rondo said they have created a million ways to divide us. Indeed, all these, you know, religion, social status, culture, yeah, titles, I would say, labels, I would say, very correct. And Ronald says the groupthink in the Black community is that racism doesn't exist. Now, no surprise there. You know, if you got a number of non-white people thinking they're in a community, what can only come from that is more confusion. No such thing as a Black community. No such thing as a Black family. No such thing as a Black friend. No such thing as a Black wife or a Black husband. You know, we are prisoners of war. If you have been captured in a war, how do you have a family? And white people declare you as your enemy. White people declare us as their enemy. There's documentation and there's a number of videos one can scurry the internet to find proof of this. We are treated like the enemy, killed like the enemy, hunted like the enemy, and observed like the enemy. So yeah, if you have been captured in a war, how are you getting married? You're not. They let you pretend like you are because it makes you feel good and it makes them feel comfortable. And it also gives them more things to laugh at. Look at them Black people thinking they're married, you know, married with our customs, with something that we've created, wearing our white gowns and our white suits, thinking they were doing something. Ha ha ha. Tragic, tragic, tragic. You know, and Ronald says, all I know is that Jews are considered white. Yeah, a large number of them are considered white. So one should definitely avoid the confusion of even getting wrapped up in those conversations of, you know, the Jews are the problem. White people are the problem. Racist men and racist women are the problem. Have been for quite a while. Was there any more ask? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so Miss Action said something that made me understand that, yeah, and I had something really profound and expected to happen at the plantation. And this is the refined training. You know, this should be this should be a RIPS. Honestly, this should be a RIPS. And it is a RIPS, Racism in Plain Sight. You can find those broadcasts at our YouTube. But this is it's happened on the plantation today. And this is the refining. They train the whole planet, attack Black, mistreat Black. But at the same time, while you're mistreating and attacking Black, deceiving Black, harming Black things and Black creatures, call that Black thing your buddy. Call him your friend. Call him your brother. Because this game right here is called Kick the Buddy or something like that. Now let's see what this game is that the children are playing, first graders.
To like keep on tapping.
You have to hit the person.
Yeah, you have to hit the enemy.
Oh wow.
You have to hit the enemy. He's like an enemy or something.
Hit the person.
Yeah, you have to hit the enemy.
Oh wow.
You have to hit the enemy. He's like an enemy.
Oh, and this is a white child to just to show you that what we're saying here is quite correct. We are in a system of white supremacy. And he's saying you have to hit the enemy. So he's hitting a Black person. Basically, this is a Black person. He's calling him an enemy. So somewhere in this white child's brain computer, he has registered the enemy is someone dark and someone Black. While at the same time, this game is called Kick the Buddy. So at the same time, they're being taught, hey, this is your buddy, call me a buddy, so they won't know what you're doing to them. So you may think, 0526 is just a crazy nigga, you just not making no sense. Come on.
That kid is very codified because you kept saying, so you're supposed to kick the person, and they keep saying you kick the enemy, never confirming that it's an actual person. Like, I just think that that's really interesting how he kept saying, no, you kick the enemy every time you would say you kick the person.
Exactly, not confused at all. And Rondo says, oh my God, this is a little child. So that's a first grader. So we are in a system of white supremacy. They are waging a war against dark people classified as Black, classified as non-white. This is what it looks like. It's an ever assault against us. Oh wow, Rhino says they call us enemy while we worship white people as our God. Precisely. Yeah, I also reminds me of something I recently tweeted because I saw a picture of Nicolas Cage and his very, very his 22-year-old victim of racism person that he's decided that he's gonna rape and pretend that they're in a relationship. I saw that and it made me think, wow, they have taught us to worship them while at the same time to know very little about them. How do you worship something but know nothing about them? You don't know what it means to be white. You know the history of white people. You know the history of what they've done. You know what they're planning. You know nothing about white people, but you know how to act like them, for sure. Think about it, please. Rhino says, could you please help me understand the codes on a scientific level? I do not know. I would need more, I would need questions that you think are scientific questions about the code, and if I can answer them, then maybe I can help you, but other than that, I do not know. So I'm just thinking of other areas that people activity, just even the areas that are not mentioned by Fuller that I'm noticing, and this area too, education. It's really tragic. I also noticed something on the plantation. I noticed my white students. I had a white girl student, and she said to herself, I'm smart. She said, Mister, I figured it out. I'm smart. And then while I have in the same classroom, black male students, I'm stupid. So the programming is day and night. The white people are being trained how to be operators, maintenancers of the system of white supremacy, and non-white people are being trained how to be victims in the system, how to be subjugated, servants to the system forever. And it's up to us to understand what is occurring and to do what needs to be done, because especially if you have brought an offspring to planet Earth, then wow, if you're not teaching an offspring about racism and white supremacy, yeah, then you're very lame, and that offspring is going to live a more incorrect existence, because they're going to be getting slapped and they're faced by racism all the time. And you could have taught him or her how to bob and weave a little bit, but instead you dolled them up, made them cute, gave them the flashy clothes, the pretty clothes, and didn't fill their brain with anything of volume. But now you're talking to Channel Fox, talking about he didn't want to hurt nobody. So it's really, we got to solve this problem. We got to get out of this circular behavior we've been in, just bringing in victims, not teaching them anything about the system, not knowing anything about the system ourselves. It has to change. This is the information age. Inform everyone you can about race and white supremacy. And hey, we got to solve this problem. We have to solve this problem. They want to take this problem to infinity and beyond. They want your grandchildren to be called space niggers. They want non-white people being born on Jupiter, on Mars, on Neptune, and in different galaxies, still being called niggers. White people want this. The most powerful white people, known as racist men and racist women, are working towards this. And if we allow this to happen, then tragic, very tragic. Yeah, and from what I've seen in their movies, what's that movie called? Ad Astra. Yeah, that's what I saw in this film. I thought, let me just get some screens on it. Ad Astra. Maybe this is when I started thinking about it a little bit more deeply, perhaps. But yeah, this film is, they're in space. Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing. It's still, they got McDonald's on Mars now. Pitiful. Now I can get cancer on Mars. I get obese on Mars now. Great. I mean the moon, wherever they went. We have to want more than white people said is their best. It's the best, which is the civilization. It's not. And what did we learn from Urugu? What actually is a civilization? It's something white people control. It's not correct. We don't control anything on planet Earth. They control it all. That is what it means to be civilized. They are in control. That's what it means. That's what we learned from Urugu. That is what it means to be a Urugu. You must control everything. This is why when white people are not even in control of a conversation, they spaz out, get mad, start yelling, start cussing, because even conversations are something they have to control. It's conflict. So motivation to solve this problem. If I if I do have an offspring and we don't solve this problem, they're gonna have to worry about their grandchildren being on the moon. You know, maybe, maybe they're living on the moon. My bad. Maybe they're existing on the moon. And they're coming out of Burger King, and some other non-white people pull up, and some sort of spacecraft pull out their laser beams and pow, pow, pow. Why? Because racism, white supremacy is still in the galaxy, and those victims were spending a lot of time and energy on listening to space rap, which is about Black people, killing Black people on zero gravity. Like, white people are trying to take us there. We gotta understand this. To infinity and beyond. That's what it means. Expanding racism, white supremacy forever. Yeah, and I appreciate the participants. Please share this broadcast and subscribe and like, and feel free to throw some questions in the chat if you would like answer. And Ronald says, I think Dr. Ani does an even better job at explaining their behavior. Yeah, I think you're very correct. And we have a book study on Urugu. We have a study on Urugu. We cover that entire text, cover to cover. A lot of honesty in that book study and in that text. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with racist man and racist woman. And book study should be somewhere right here. Here it is. So yeah, cover to cover, Urugu. Check it out. Learn what is a Urugu, what is a European. I definitely been hammering on. If any of the other hosts would like to chime in, folks are still there. They don't feel pressured. So
I'm still here, but everything's been not everything has been said, but a lot's been said that I agree with, and I don't really have a lot to add at the moment. It's kind of just observing and listening. It's 6 a.m. another time,
Understood. Understood. I'm just thinking, is there anything else I want to discuss? Oh yeah. I do. Something else. So this is not discussed often in the counter-racist business, but Area 9, counter-war, counter-violence, war in general. I really appreciate the code for saying that, hey, you're in a race war, the only war, the race war, the only war. That's something that when I first read it was very alarming, but it allowed me to make sense of all of the chaos that I've experienced and observed on planet Earth. Of course I'm in a war. Of course. And what I'm always seeing white people do in this war, they just eliminate people like butter. So easy for them. Just eliminate people. Don't even think nothing about it. Large masses of people gone. Won't lose no sleep over it either. And I think if this is the mentality we're dealing with, then it makes perfect sense. And you look forward to say, hey, they have to kill all of us for this to stop. They gotta kill all of us, or to help us to solve the race problem. Or we gotta kill as many of them as they kill us. But that's not gonna happen because we definitely don't have that mentality or ability, I think, to do such a thing. So they gotta take the other route. Hey, white people, please help us to produce justice or kindly kill all of us. Thank you very much. And then go from there. And then the white people are still afraid of, genetic annihilation. We can help you to remain as what you call white. We will help you to not disappear if that's what you're afraid of. You don't need a system of white supremacy. You don't need, fighter jets and hypersonic jets and hydrogen bombs. You don't need these things to exist as a people. Your only danger is yourself. Non-white people are not thinking about harming white people. Certainly don't have the ability to do so at all.
Agree. You don't have the ability, you don't have the mental capacity, you don't have the mental strength or spiritual strength to even do such a thing. So attempt to produce justice, or just use the best tools, have fun with it, get rid of all of us, produce justice, or KUA, kill us all.
KUA, but understand. Interesting. So yeah, I appreciate folks tuning in with us. 10 p.m. over where I am. So yeah, I'm going through the chat, make sure I haven't missed anything. What did Yahweh say? He says, Yahweh said, peace and greetings. A lot of the science is actually in Yurugu, guessing or original context, also in ISIS paper. Psychology is a science, behavior can be repeated. Okay, all right, groovy. Oh yeah, Yahweh says, look at the cover of Yurugu. It looks like Beavis, but if you check her release date, it's before the cartoon. Yeah. And honestly, when I first saw the cover of Yurugu, I didn't even notice the guy right there. I didn't even notice the person. I didn't know there's a scary like person here. And that's also, right behind me. Probably communicating.
You just noticed that?
I noticed it, not just now, but after the fact I got the book, it took me a while to see the guy there.
Oh yeah, that's a Yurugu.
Yeah, that's a Yurugu. Incomplete being. Incomplete being. Containing energy that cannot be used for constructive purposes. Containing energy that could only be used for chaos. Something along those lines. Check out our study for a more focused conversation about the Yurugu, as you can see. And also, if you check out one of our studies and you think, hey, these people, they don't know what they're talking about. They have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. You guys come to this channel right here. Come to this channel right here. And check out their Yurugu book study. The cows, context of racism and white supremacy. They also did a book study on Yurugu. So if you don't like our discussion, don't like seeing our non-white faces, check out the cows. They also did a book study on this. Either way, learn what we are dealing with. The messenger says, how do we create a Black/African asili? It just needs an effective number to be about what that SILI is about. So we have a good basis for what our SILI should be. Justice, guaranteeing no one's allowed to be treated, and those who need help receive constructive help. So we have a good foundation. We just need enough non-white people, known as Black or African, promoting and practicing such, culture. That's what the SILI essentially is. What people are doing and how they do what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. So that's what we should be about. That's what I would like to be about. And that will be my suggestion to other non-white people, because I am in no position to make any demands, but I am begging you all to please help me produce justice, solve this race problem. Please. But yeah, I want to take up folks any more time. Thank you. What's the code? Yeah, we will be here probably tomorrow for a RIBS or Atlanta decoding. We will certainly be here on Sunday to conclude our study on Race Code War by Kyrie and Haro, the power of images and words on the Black psyche. You can definitely also check out this playlist. Very constructive. This book was recommended by Neely Fuller Jr. and we have learned tons from it so far. So you can definitely check out this book. I don't know if any other victims have covered this text, so definitely check it out for a what I think to be a thorough study of race code war, the power of symbols and the power of words, images, and symbols on the Black psyche by Kyrie and Haro. But that being said, it was an excellent talk. Thanks for finding my combination of thoughts that I've put into these words to be something that you all feel, hey, I'll listen to this Black male talk. He's saying something that is interesting, at least. So I appreciate you all, just, tuning in and maybe gaining something from this, taking something from this of constructive value. And if you did, please share this information. I will be traveling into the virtual reality realm after this, so maybe you can catch me in there, find me there. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, and share this, tweet this, Pinterest this, Tumblr this, Reddit this, TikTok this, especially TikTok this, because I don't have that platform, and it's quite constructive. I see if wanting to get people to look at something. So. Sir, you're gonna say something?
I agree with what's been said. Like, subscribe. If you have multiple social media platforms, do that on the multiple media platforms that you do have access to. And we will continue to. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I'll continue to put my best foot forward and producing some type of justice on planet Earth. It's possible. I believe I would like to see it. During my existence on this planet.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And yeah, Ronald says this is unbelievable because I always feel very alone with this. Well, yeah. Well, Miss Ash says join the book club, and I second that. But yeah, and I also second what's being said in the chat. What's the code saying? You are alone, sir. We are united independently. So yeah, we are. It's best to think of ourselves as, my suggestion is, and what I do is I think of myself, army of one, a single soldier within this war being waged against me. I have no reinforcements. I have no backup. I definitely don't have anyone to call like Ghostbusters or anyone. So alone, but I know there's people out there who are of the same mindset of justice, and they are willing to produce justice and wanting to produce justice. So I'm not alone in that regard, but those people are never gonna come save me if I need help. They can't, and it's not their fault. It's white people's fault. Racist man, racist woman. I hope that made sense, Mr. Ronald. And again, thanks for chatting up with us tonight. Yes, Army of One, Military of One, Force of One, whatever you want to call ourselves, Battalion of One, whatever, anything, but you're doing it by yourself. Doing it by yourself. Yeah, I just said it. I know the chat is late, so maybe you're just hearing it now, but there's a Zoom chat delay, quite unoptimized and tacky, but and I don't know if folks have caught the song in the background. If you have noticed, what's been playing over and over, that's actually a song by a group of suspected racists known as Low Hum, and the song is Comatose, but it's only the beginning of the song. So that's what you've been listening to for this hour or so with us on tonight's broadcast. And what have we been discussing? The race. Honest race talk. What did we start with? There's only one race on the planet. That group of people, that family of people, that organization of people is only known as white people. They're the only family, the only anything that really can call themselves a community, a neighborhood. They are comprised of white people, racist men and racist women. This is what we're discussing here. What we're really dealing with, what we're really under. The tutelage of white people. Shout out, infinite shout outs to Neely Fuller Jr. Because I wouldn't even use that word tutelage unless I was less confused about racism and white supremacy. For sure. Yeah, and just because we are attempted counter racists, we gotta understand the words we're using. Tutelage, protection of or authority over someone or something, guardianship. This is our situation. We are under the tutelage of white people. They are our protectors and our authority figures. They are guardians. Without them, we'll probably be somewhere more constructive. But the way they set up this planet, we need them to protect us from them and to protect us from each other. This is how they devised the planet. And you pay attention to planet Earth, see what's going on here, you will see that they've done an excellent job at that conundrum. Indeed. Yep. And also there's really no such thing as being actually protected or safe if you're a non-white person in the system of white supremacy. We can Rhino, we can definitely attempt to help each other, and sometimes those attempts may be successful. But if white people really want to put their hammer down and prevent us directly or indirectly from helping each other, best believe they can do that. You know, that's what we mean by understanding what we're dealing with. That's white power, awesome power. At any moment, white people can say, "Hey, you know what, 0526, you owe us something. Now we're taking you to greater confinement." And it's that simple. Or you know, 0526, you know, you being a little suspicious, riding in that car right there. You know, pop. You know, you shouldn't have did what you did. You shouldn't have been, you know, a black male in the system of white supremacy and also driving a car. That's a bad combination. So, you know, and who's gonna help me from that situation? You know,
nobody. And then there comes the ritual of the t-shirts and the hashtags and all these things that don't produce justice. So yeah, and it's that simple. It's two things, you know, black male and the mobile vehicle. Boom, perfect. They love it. Black male just anywhere, you know, black female anywhere. So make it a spectacle. That's what the white supremacists do 24/7 in the system of racism, white supremacy. And black people we have not like got to the point where we have said, hey, this is enough. I'm only going to talk about this now. When I open my mouth, I'm going to be trying to solve this problem. When I'm out in public, I'm going to be trying to solve this problem. How are you doing? Poorly, pitiful. I'm being dominated. A white lady grabbed her purse and called me a nigger. You know, that's how I'm doing. You know, I'm going to be honest about my experiences. How was your job? Got fired, replaced by a white guy. You know, that's what black people need to be doing if they want to solve this problem. To be honest, be logical. You know, remove your emotions from most scenarios. You know, use intuition, but your emotions will not help you. Black people's emotions have been completely programmed and refined by white supremacists, where we get so mad and we end up in jail, greater confinement, end up killing someone, end up in a worse situation. So if you don't leave your house with the intention or understanding that you may die and may have to kill someone, you know, don't leave with your emotions, leave with condensed, you know, conformed logic. You know, I'm leaving my house, I'm gonna do this. I'm doing A, B, C, and D, and I'm gonna go back home. You know, if conflict arises and you're a black person, just leave. Don't talk, you know, just leave. Someone tells you, hey, don't leave anyway. Just get out of there. You know, and go home, you know, and drink some water or something.
Great advice. Avoid conflict and drink some water. Advice not given enough to non-white people. I know. Ronald says, Ronald, I'm going to codify your stuff. He says, male victim, you are so brutally honest. Yeah, we're not here to lie to you, sir. Not here to lie to you. It says, interesting. All right. Ronald says, see, I have to tell you guys something. Oh yeah, if you have to tell us something later, I won't read it. I'll wait till you refine your thoughts. So when you're ready later, I will hopefully you can share it later. But I'm thinking, combing through the code also, since I mentioned it, you know, we've also CRWS has also done a cover to cover. Won't be the last, but we have done a cover to cover study of, guess what? You guessed it, the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept. by Neely Fuller Jr. Full cover to cover. Some of it even featuring Dr. Q and Edward Williams. So very constructive. Can learn, just can learn so much. Possibly avoid a lot of conflict by giving us a gander. If you are not compelled to buy the text, perhaps listening to victims read the text, explain some of the text or explain their interpretations of the text, that may help you, perhaps. But yeah, we've done it for you. We've read it for you, cover to cover.
Yeah, just follow, subscribe to the page, and go ahead and if you're working on your computer, you're going for a walk, press play and put it in your pocket and just walk around. Or if you're playing video games, have it in the background while you're grinding for experience points. You're going for a jog. You don't need, music about murder and sex and drugs. Just listen to, victims of racism, white supremacy, doing their best to cognitively discuss what's going on and try to solve the problem. We're not going to solve the problem if you don't know anything about it. You need information about the problem before the problem is solved.
Yeah, thank you, Yalu, for what he just said in the chat. It's something that has happened, even before this book club started reading the code. We just were focusing on the race problem. We had participants being called cult members, like you're like in a cult, and that has often been ascribed to Neely Fuller's text. Is cultish. Absolutely incorrect. The greatest cult on the planet is racism and white supremacy. That is the greatest cult to ever exist in our universe. And Yawu says Mr. Fuller's code clearly states these are suggestions to be used or discarded. It can't be a cult if there is no leader. So exactly, but he also says, "But I have seen the word code thrown out lately." So yeah, that's very correct. There's no such thing. The code is the leader. And go ahead, Mr. Sir.
Yeah, racism, white supremacy is the biggest cult in the universe, and everyone is a member of this cult. Everyone practices it, even Black people. When they get dressed up in red and blue and go kill each other, that's the cult. That's the actual cult of white supremacy. When someone accuses a Black person of stealing or grabs their bag when they're walking past them, that's the cult. That's the ritual practice. The like I said, the biggest cult on planet Earth is racism, white supremacy, and every being on the planet is practicing it and a member of that cult. Unless they're actively trying to counter it, actively doing their best. It doesn't matter if they're doing big jumps or small jumps. If they're doing anything, then hey, maybe they're not a member of the cult. They're definitely indoctrinated still and have to deprogram and reconfigure their mind and how they perceive themselves and other Black people. But the biggest cult, once again, racism, white supremacy. The leader of the cult, racist man, racist woman, racist child. And they would do anything to keep it going. They kill people every single day. The books at the schools reprogram their superiority every day. It's you don't have to go to like the church of Satan or the church of these white people who have these giant cults and get people to drink Kool-Aid and die. You could just go right to any place on the planet and just be Black, and you'll be showed exactly what the code is. I'm saying cult, not code.
Indeed, and just because we have to be just I understand what you're saying, but just to be super precise, the victims of racism who dress up in red and blue and slaughter each other, they're not practicing racism. They're practicing anti-blackness or ghetto glorification, you know, because in order to practice racism, you have to have the qualification of being white, but they are definitely imitating a white person when they go out and kill a non-white person. That is the ultimate imitating of a racist person. When you go out and harm a non-white person, yeah, you're definitely acting white. Yep. Yeah, so I made a lot of sense, but just to be super, super precise. Yeah, and I'm trying to see. I'm trying to get something. This may be the file. Let me see. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so this is a really interesting document here. Satanic cult awareness, and I'm gonna skim through this document. This is a federal FBI document about actual cults, and we're just gonna explain how racism and white supremacy is the actual cult, and counter racism and white supremacy is perhaps counter measure to this cult. The cult, all right, the cult just means hidden. Let's not be confused by what this word means. It just means hidden. Racism and white supremacy is largely well hidden by racist men and racist women. So, it says here, how is a cult, exactly how is a destructive religious cult defined? All right. Isolation, loss of reality induced by physical separation from society and rational reverences. Hypnosis, state of high suggestibility induced by hypnosis, often thinly disguised as meditation, peer group pressure, suppression of doubt, resistance to new ideas achieved by exploiting a natural need to belong. Love bombing, sense of family and belonging, contrived through hugging, kissing, touching, and flattery. All right, so already I'm seeing very much evident of how the cult of racism and white supremacy is very much uses these things. Hypnosis, we are all hypnotized by this civilization and what it promises to us. Just it promises us the American dream. We get to get the American dream, and then what do we have to do for this American dream? Just work hard, go to college, go to a trade school, just whatever you do, work real hard, leave your the people who look like you for a bit, isolate yourself, go amongst the white people, and do what needs to be done to put your best foot forward and work up your bootstraps or whatnot. And that's definitely an isolation tactic when they have us, at these universities where it's like 1,000 white people and about 12 of us, and then we're wondering why we're so stressed because we're being mistreated every day. We don't even have the words to formulate, hey, I'm being mistreated on basis of my color. Nope, that's a microaggression. I'm being microaggressed against. So now I'm telling my therapist in college I was microaggressed against, whatever that means, instead of saying, hey, I'm being mistreated on basis of my color. Anywho, I'm gonna go on. Really important one. No questions. Automatic acceptance of beliefs accomplished by discouraging questions. Who has been trained the most to not ask questions? If you answered non-white people, you're correct. Non-white people, we have not been trained to ask questions at all. We have been taught that, hey, asking questions is bad. Confusing doctrine. I'm very confused by a lot of things white people are pumping out, especially the counter-sexual stuff they got going on. But that's, complex lectures. White people are masters of words, buckets of words. Shout out to Gusty Renegades. But masters are just confusing us with, I learned that in Urugu as well. They just, hey, here's these policies and terms of agreements and laws and rules that they're not gonna follow, of course. But hey, non-white person, if you mess up, we're coming with the IRS, we're coming with the whoever, with the parking enforcement, whoever, because you violated our doctrines, and now we're coming to mistreat you because this is how we set up our planet, our court. Removal of privacy. Edward Snowden, what did he say? Hey, NSA was listening to us. That's why he had to hightail it to so-called Russia. You know, ain't no such thing as privacy. This is why the code says to exist as if you're always being recorded. As if you're always being recorded. Games need for direction when playing games with obscure rules increases dependence on the group. You know, entertainment, sports. This reminds me of that. Of how we are just fascinated with these teams and spend so much time and energy on these teams that just reflect racism, white supremacy. Basically, you know, the Buccaneers, the Knicks, the Rams, whoever, you know, throwing a brown ball through this field goal that looks like ISIS Papers discusses this phenomenon quite accurately, but how these ball games are just reflections of the race war white people are waging against us. You know, it's training us to just focus on it trains white people to focus on the genitals, and trains non-white people to just focus on silly stuff like throwing a ball through nets and stuff. And if it's white nets, we are thinking, and it's really too much for me to explain right now. I would just encourage folks, hey, you know what? Check out, this is, again, go to CRWS, go to our playlist. Let me just get it on the screen for you guys again, because this is another text that we have covered 3 times. We've done this text 3 times, and that is the ISIS Papers. We covered this text cover to cover 3 times. 2 of those studies are available for you on the internet. So, and you will go, I think it's chapter 5. I believe it's chapter 5. The symbols of ball games, but I would teach you about just sports, basketball, football, and how that all relates to racism and white supremacy. The ISIS Papers by Dr. Professor Wilson. Phenomenal text. Everyone should have read this text. Every non-white person should have read this text. Study this text because excellent. Ronald says, should we love white people?
Agreed. Every non-white person should definitely read the ISIS Papers, Keys to the Colors, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson.
And should we love white people? Well, we can't love anyone. And I read the definition for love in our Atlanta decoding today. But love is justice. Justice is love, and we don't have either of those things currently. But if you're asking, should we have affection and appreciation towards white people? I'm gonna say, I don't know. I'm not in a position to make that claim or whatever. But I will say we should definitely focus on white people. For sure, focus on white people. And yeah, I'm thinking about the code. Did I cover everything? Well, I can't really cover everything in one meeting in regards to the code, but do I feel as if this has been an honest race talk? I think it has been. And the final thing I want to reiterate is Black males and Black females, please stop allowing white supremacists to drive us away from each other. Please stop allowing the white supremacists to keep us in conflict with each other. We must understand that the problem is white people. You know, why your baby mama or baby daddy can't do what they should be doing is because of white people. Why your black male or black female is lacking wherever you think they're lacking, it's because of black people. I mean, my bad, it's because of white people. Racist man and racist woman. You know, it will save us a lot of stress and turmoil if we focused on the problem and blamed our problems on the problem, which are white people who practice racism, white supremacy. So that is something that we can focus on, we should be focusing on. This has been our first honest race talk, and probably won't be the last. And before we head out, and make sure I didn't miss anything from the chat. What do I think personally? About loving white people, I said that if you're asking what I think personally about it, we should have affection and appreciation towards white people. If it serves a constructive purpose, why not? And then Yahoo says we should behave courteously, but keep heavy suspicion that they are racist, white supremacists. Just my opinion. That's very logical, I think, as well. And I want to close out with something that got me started into this business. And it was something that Dr. Frances Welsing wrote in her preface of the ISIS papers. I remember reading it, and it was the first time in my existence that I read something that had given me such a shock, such a push to actually think differently and think seriously about what I am seeing and what I have experienced. And she simply said, if you're a non-white person, it is your cosmic responsibility to solve this race problem. And I will double down and say, even more so, if you are bringing more Black people to this planet, more slaves, okay, that's how they're going to function while in the system as a slave. If you're bringing more slaves to this planet, your cosmic responsibility to tell your offspring what's going on here, so we may all work together, united independently with our codes provided to us by Neely Fuller Jr. to solve the race problem. You know, counter-racism is not a cult. Racism, white supremacy certainly is. This document, you can learn tons from it, and I didn't even get through half of these components here, but there's tons, and this also segues into how white people do not care about children. We've been on the air quite a while, but white people do not care about children. I should have mentioned that sometime earlier in the broadcast, and this document also shows that. And it shows that white people have mastered harming children for their benefit and for the programming of children. They understand that, hey, if I harm a children sexually, that child is also going to be a sexual deviant who is going to be compelled to harm children. So white people are not confused about what they're doing. They have a code. The code says, well, their code says, we don't care about children. We care about our business of white supremacy. And that is getting pleasure, glory, material comfort from harming and mistreating non-white people. The power equation is white over non-white. That means all areas of people activity. If I'm white, I better be doing better than that nigger. If not, I'm gonna have a problem. So, Ronald, am I a Black American? I want to be American. I want to an American, but Americans don't exist. America doesn't exist. It's simply a concept that you have been led to believe exists. At best, it's a place on the map that you can point to sometimes when a map is provided. Other than that, it does not exist. The whole planet is a prison camp, a race camp, a global system of racism and white supremacy. Asia, Africa, America does not exist. And that's why we should go to producejustice.com or really study and listen to Fuller has said and mentioned about these things, so we can really have a understanding, collective understanding, just how white people have a collective understanding about how they see us and how they treat us. We have to have a collective understanding of what we're seeing, what we're experiencing. So yeah, satanic court awareness, this just could have easily been racism and white supremacy court awareness right here. But yeah, we will have another broadcast into the occult where I will pair this document with the book Program to Kill by David McGowan. Definitely tons to learn from what white people are up to, and I only present this information to you to motivate you to solve the problem. I'm sure you don't want your offspring captured by any of these fellows associated with this occult system of racism and white supremacy, especially if their intentions are to brutally harm your child and yourself. But yeah, it's been hammering on a while. I am going to adjourn here. Mr. Sid, would you like to chime in before I head out? No worries. Mr. Ronald, I'm going to put our email in the chat if you would like to participate or have some board conversations. That is how you can do so. But yeah, we will be here Sunday, if not tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. CRWS, Honest Race Talk. You may not have liked what you heard. You may not agree with it, but it is necessary information, and I suspect it to be truth. And we should use it to solve problems. Let me rephrase what. All right, Ronald, okay, I guess Ronald says, let me rephrase that. What do white people call you a Black American? They call me a Black African American to confuse me. But yeah, you must study the text, study the code, or listen to our study on the code, or find us again on the broadcast and ask more questions. But I am before I head out, Ronald, are you a white person or a non-white person? Okay. Okay, right. I'm going to end it here. I suspect you are a non-white person, but I may be in error. Hopefully, we'll be hearing from you again. Anywho, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for participating, everyone. CRWS signing out.